Mm. Hey y'all, welcome to the Devon A. Morris Unfiltered Call-In Show. Have a seat. Let's get ready. You have any questions? Come on, call in. Come on to that Discord channel. Do me a favor, get the unfiltered crew some finger snaps. We're ready to get started here. Mondays, 8 p.m. Every single Monday, we're here. I'm excited about it. Are you? Let's get this show started, y'all. The greatest scrum show on earth. I'll see y'all soon. Enjoy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to 2024. Hopefully you've had an amazing start to your 2024. Mine has been great time. Great time. Just accomplishing some things that I never thought I would accomplish. That's how my 2023 went out. So I'm really excited about 2024. Um, if you don't know me, my name is Devon Morris. I am a certified Scrum trainer, board certified coach. Yeah, I've been doing Agile since 2005. I own a company called Bearded Eagle. So I do this all the time. And what I'm here to do is answer your questions on the Unfiltered Show. We talk about Agile, Scrum, entrepreneurship, all those great things during the show. So this is a time to bring your questions. This is a time to pick my brain. This is a time to learn from everybody else that's in the room. Now, how the show works is very simple. We go and we start off maybe about 5 minutes after that we've done it with the intro. We go through our topic, and our topic of the day is 10 things successful people. I'm probably going to focus on successful agile coaches will do in 2024 to kind of kill it. So that's what we're talking about today. It's an amazing topic. I curated I actually got a couple more I added to the list a few minutes ago. So I'm really excited about today's topic. So once again, we go through our intros. Then about 5 minutes after, we jump into the topic. We hit that topic for maybe 20 minutes. It could be 30 minutes depending on how things go. But it's an amazing topic because the truth of the matter is, these are the things that I will be doing in 2024. And I killed it in 2023. I'm about to double kill it in 2024. You understand? So I'm telling you, do what I do, and you probably can be really good at knocking it out, right? Killing it, right? And so my objective is really to kill it for real in 2024. So that's what our topic is going to be for today. And it's just an amazing topic, right? So I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to start off. You know, I know everybody's kind of getting back to the job, getting back to the jobs, really getting their week started, getting back to school, getting back to that normal life that they once had before vacations and everything else started happening. So tell me, say hi in the room. Wave, do something. Just always say hi so that I can give you a shout out a little bit later when we actually come back from the actual thing that we're going to do. In terms of what's going on with me, just kind of working through school stuff. The school stuff is super important because I want to go ahead and just, get back toward this full time thing. Right now, I'm going through qualitative reasoning and learning a bunch of great stuff. So that simply amazes me all the time. Other than that, classes till later on this month. That's what we always do at Bearded Eagle. We take a little bit longer breaks, and then we can spend a little bit more time actually getting things ready for the year. And that's definitely our focus. And definitely, we've been thinking about this, the Unfiltered Show, right? Because I think we have some things coming that's going to be, that you'll like, that you're going to like, right? I think I'm going to start bringing some people around that you're going to like. So I'm looking forward to that as well. What else is going on? That's really, I'm just happy to be in this 2024, man. I'm looking forward to 2020. Well, I'm not looking forward to 2025. I want to get through 2024 that fast. I want to actually knock some things out for real, for real. this year, right? So yeah, I'm kind of there. I'm already there, all deep into it. But like I said, just make sure you give a shout out, because I want to make sure I say hi to you, and I'll do that when we come back. So I got a few thoughts to give you, and I want to go ahead and dive into our topic because I think these are some things that you may have some questions about. So if you do, you know how to do, just kind of drop them in the chat. But just know we're going to open up after this to answer any questions that you may have, especially if you have some struggles with getting started, right? So let's kind of begin that topic. And that topic is 10 things successful people will do to kill it in 2024. Now, just so when I say kill it, it's slang. I'm talking about being super productive, making things happen. It's just a slang where, just being the most successful person that you can be, right? So nothing derogatory or bad about it. It's just that I know I'm killing it. I killed it in 2023, and I'm definitely going to kill it in 2024. And I'm looking forward to just kind of knocking it out once again. So, like I do with these topics, I'm going to dive right into the very first one, right? Because if you look at the first one here, it's really simple, but this one is extremely important. And that is maintain balance. And for me, it always starts with prioritization to some degree. So for me, now this may be different for you. Probably the biggest thing that happens where people just fall off the radar is they don't have the appropriate balance that is required in their life. And that will have things take priority that probably should not take priority. I get emergencies. I'm not talking about emergencies here, right? So if I was to really spell out to you, at always at least once a year, I look at the things that are in my life, right? And classically, I can boil them down to a few topics, right? I got this PhD program that's happening. I have family, right? I have business. I have other life things that kind of occur, right? And if you really was to look at what I have going on for 2024, one of the first things I do is I really prioritize those things. So if you was to take a look, you would see that I have PhD first, and I'll actually show it to you. I'll actually show it to you in terms of my balance, right? My priority, maintaining my balance, is I got to get this PhD done. That's number one on the list, right? Family is number two, and then all the business stuff is number three, right? And there's a reason why I do that. There's a reason why I do that. I've already sat down with family to make sure they understand that I got to focus on that PhD thing. Does that make sense? So I already got them to be in agreement, right? I also know that if I'm going to spend full time in class, it's really hard for me to work all the time. That means I don't leave time for the other things that need to be done. Does that make sense? And if I don't leave time for the other things that need to be done, then guess what? The PhD falls off. I start getting bad grades. I start barely having time to really learn what I'm paying for, right? So the first thing that I do before I do anything else is I kind of figure out that balance. What is that balance going to be? How am I going to prioritize things? And for me, it's something that I have to check on a daily basis. Understand the statement. I have to check it on a daily basis, and it kind of shapes every one of my days. So if you look at today, I had to look at that balance list and look at priorities and everything else that within each one of those things and determine what I needed to do, right? Luckily, I did a lot of things with family, so that wasn't heavy, right? But business and PhD was fighting today, right? So the first thing that I think you have to do is to maintain balance. Figure out what your balance is. Figure out how your priority is going to work. And I believe that will be extremely helpful in your daily trying to figure out what I need to do first versus second, right? So really, really important. Once again, I'll ask you all right now. You all have started this year, right? Have you thought about what balance looks like for you? If you have, just type in the chat that you got that balance thing done. But if you don't have it done, just type in the chat, type in the comments that you're going to work on it and you're going to have it done next time we come together. So let's just say next Monday, you're going to get it done. So just let us know in the chat, where are you at with that, right? That is if you want to kill it in 2024. As you drop those things in the comments, I'm going to move on to number 2. Number 2 is establish and pursue SMART goals. Now, look, I'm not going over what SMART goals are, okay? We have done this 2-3 times on the show already. Everybody here, if you want to know about SMART goals, just go watch one of the prior shows, and it tells you all about SMART goals, right? But the problem is people don't utilize it. People don't utilize it whatsoever, right? And so for me, I have to make sure that I establish really SMART goals, right? And so, for example, there's this show. What kind of goals do I have for this show? Well, if you was to look at the Unfiltered show right now, the goals that I have for the show is to kind of get out 100 videos this year, additional 50 shorts this year, 10 interviews, which will be lumped into those 100, and get 3,000 subs this year. We're at 1,000, maybe 100 or 200, right? And so I think all of these things are realistic. The stretch one in this whole thing is the 3K subs. That's the stretch one. But if I put out 100 videos, 50 shorts, and 10 interviews this year, you know what? I shouldn't have a problem getting to that 3K. Does that make sense? And so what I will do now that I'm getting into the thick of it, right? What I will do, and you may see this, you may not, but the people that work on my team will definitely see this. I will take that big year goal and start to chop it up into quarterly and monthly goals. Like, I'm going to make them smaller. Does that make sense? More achievable for me, right? So I can measure the progress along the way. So you want to establish and you want to pursue those SMART goals. So it's not just good enough to talk about them. You got to actively jump into them. So here's my question for you all. Just type it in the comments. Did you establish your SMART goals for 2024? Anybody that has done that in the comments, just say, hey, I got my SMART goals down. Just type it in the comments, right? It was an expectation last year that you all do this along with me. So hopefully you got it done, because we talked about it since December, right? So establish and pursue SMART goals is number 2. I'm going to move on to number 3. Number 3 is all about logical, informed, calculated decisions. And I could actually replace decisions with risk, but the idea is you should be utilizing the best available information that you have available to you right now. You understand? We're not perfect at predicting the future, right? We're just not perfect at it, right? But you have the information that you have right now, and you can utilize that information to make the best, most logical, most well-informed decision that you can actually make with the data that you have, right? And you just make that best decision, and if things change, and things will change, you may just have to adjust. You may have to adjust, right? Remember, transparency, inspection, adaptation. You may have to do some adaptation. We adapt all the time. So just get all the data that you can. That makes sense to help you make that decision, so you can balance it against the risk, okay? So just make sure you are doing that to the best of your ability, to the best degree that you can. That at least says that if you're wrong, you make the best decision at that point in time, okay? And that's the key, making the best decision with the information that's available to you so you can make that best decision. So really, really important. We don't stop there, because we're going to move on to number 4. Number 4 is to take decisive, timely action. right? I think almost every religion on the planet says that praying is not enough by itself. You have to take action. You have to take action. You have to do something. You know, I have a lot of people that have existed in my life, right? And they still exist, right? It's not like I got rid of them, right? And the difference is they're just dreamers and they don't take action against those dreams. Like they see something that they need to do and they don't find a way to take action against those dreams, right? And so, really successful people, they are decisive about what they need to do and they're timely about taking the action. So, they do both of those things together. And if you don't do that, you're just dreaming at this point. You're just dreaming, right? You know, I've had people who've come through training and things of that nature and say to me they really want to get a scrum job, for example. And then 3 months later, they've only applied for 3 jobs. 3 months later, they've only applied for 3 jobs. To me, that's not any action, right? That's a minimum amount of action. And that unless you're super lucky, you're probably not gonna get anywhere with that, right? So here's a question for you. All of you all, even me, we've all had experiences where we missed out on something because we didn't take action. If you remember what one of those things were in your life, drop it in the chat. Just drop it in the comments, right? What's one of those things? Well, you dreamt about it, right? But you didn't take decisive, timely action and you missed the opportunity. That makes sense? Yeah. I've had that happen in business on more than one occasion by not getting in touch with people when I was supposed to and lost out on significant business because of it. What is one of those things where you didn't take action, right? Just drop it in the comments, but we're going to keep moving, right? Because we only have so much time. Okay. Our next one is productivity versus activity. You know, hey, there's a lot of y'all running around that's just doing work for the sake of work. They're just busy, busy, just busy. Every action isn't a productive action. So you're going to have to find a way to just not be busy and have a bunch of activity. You need to find a way to be productive and have those actions that you take be mostly associated with the value that you're trying to achieve. So when I look at things, I say to myself, right? Hey, man, what is the goal that I'm trying to achieve? And will this action or this activity help me to reach that goal? So to me, that activity turns into productivity because it helps me meet that goal. And so you want to be very careful about just doing work for the sake of work and about being productive, right? And if you can move from being just active to productive, then now you can take that productivity and focus on being massively productive, taking massive action at that point, right? And I think that would be hugely beneficial for you, right? That doesn't stop there because we got another one here, right? Iterate to avoid perfectionism. I say iterate and avoid perfectionism, but I want you to iterate to. And I'm going to go ahead and scratch that out and put a to there. I want you to iterate to avoid perfectionism, right? Because the one thing I love about iterations, right? Sprints in particular, is time boxing. Time boxing puts you in a position where if you got a deadline to get something done, you can't always try to be perfect. It forces you out of that perfect mindset, right? And so the real trick for me has always been if I'm going to iterate through something to continually time box as I roll through it. Because when I time box, I start to avoid perfectionism, right? And perfectionism is a beast because you can spend all day trying to tweak something to make it just right when for most people it's good enough. And a lot of times I'm trying to get to a place where it's good enough. And if I need to make it, if I need to pursue perfection, that's one thing. But for it to be perfect, I'm probably never going to achieve. Okay. So I know that. So I iterate to avoid perfectionism. Okay. Now, we all go through this. We all run into these problems. You've done it before too. I've done it in many arenas. But that doesn't stop there. Let's continue. You want to make sure you make incremental improvements. And if you are focused on productive stuff and your incremental improvements are in that direction of productivity, you're going to be able to make massive shifts in whatever it is you're trying to do. And the key is you want the most valuable incremental improvements. So and then you can have those massive shifts. So I'm just not talking about let's just improve for the sake of improvement. I want you to improve based on the goals and value that you're trying to achieve. The more you're focused on that, the more you will massively shift. You know, there's a book called The One Thing by a guy named, I think, Gary Keller. Um, and I recommend that you read the book. But I always think to myself, what's that one thing that I can accomplish today that can make everything different for that particular thing, period, or completely and then eliminate me having to deal with it anymore, right? And that one thing is normally the most valuable thing for me. And if I'm able to get that thing done, it's a massive shift. It's a massive shift. So I work toward incremental improvements that are most valuable to give me those massive shifts. I think you should too. I really think you should too, right? But it doesn't stop there because you have to manage time and measure progress. Yeah, we always talk about time management, and time management is such an amazing thing, right? But how are you going to measure progress toward the goal, right? Here's the deal, man. You have to have a measurable. You got to have a measurable. You know, sometimes your measurable can't be anything else, but it's done, right? But if it's really big, done just means it's going to take you a long time to see progress, right? To see it's 100% complete, right? And I'm not talking about percentages complete. I'm talking about real measurable progress. If you can manage your time and measure your progress, it's going to motivate you to do more and to stay at it, to really keep at it. And you want to really keep at it as best you can. If you can do that, you're putting yourself in a good position. And for me, I like to look at my progress on things daily. I hate to say it daily, right? Because I'm not always motivated, right, to do something. But when I see the progress, it helps me. It really does help me. So, and I think it would help you too. So just make sure you manage your time and you measure that progress, okay? Which is, once again, really, really important. This one right here, I think is critical because normally I say to you, network, network, network. But get your circle right, man. What do I mean by that? Some of y'all may not know exactly what I mean. The people, if you don't have the right people around you, if you're the smartest person in the room, you with the wrong group, man. You with the wrong group. If you are wanting and desiring to be an agilist and you're not around agile people, you got a problem, man. You really just have a real problem. So realistically, beyond just networking, you need to get your circle right because, you know, I've heard this many times. You are an average of your five closest friends, acquaintances, or associates, right? You're an average of them, right? And so, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're the one that's bringing the average up. You are, right? And so, it's one of those things, it's harder for you to learn and grow in that situation. So, you need to get your circle right. It is extremely important that you get your circle right. because that impacts you. And once again, what I mean by that is getting the right people around you. Okay? So get your circle right in 2024. If there's anything you can do, that is extremely important. I have to work on my circle. Do you understand? I have to work on my circle. Okay? And I know I got to work through that. Um, is your circle right? Do you have the right people in your circle? I don't know, right? But I got to get mine right. Does that make sense? So really, really, really important. Okay? Let's continue this one. This one right here is probably one of the hardest ones for me to deal with, and probably it's the same thing for you. Okay? Now, have you know how you know that place where you sit that's most comfortable for you, and there's something that's going on, an activity or whatever it is that's right outside that most comfortable place, and you just procrastinate getting to it. You just don't do it for whatever reason because you're not comfortable. This year, for me in particular, I'm going to make sure that I live outside my comfort zone. Like legitimately. Like I'm being real serious now, right? Right? Because there are things that I just don't do because it's not in my sweet spot. It's not in my comfort zone, right? And maybe I could have tenfolded Bearded Eagle by just living outside of my comfort zone way more. And for me, it's lost opportunity. You know, here's a question, right? Is there a time in your life where you didn't live out of your comfort zone and there was something that you didn't achieve, or there was a loss that just happened, right? Just think about what that thing is, right? For me, it's a definite yes. And so I'm definitely heavy focused on that comfort zone thing this year, right? And so, anyway, that's our 10. But I have two more, right? I actually have two more. This next one here, number 11. Just so you know, and just so we're all okay, failure is okay. You have to learn to treat it as a lesson. You know, if there's one big trick that I play with myself, is that every failure I have is just a learning lesson. I mean, and it's just true. It just in my mind today, that's exactly the way that I think. But it took years to really get that in, right? It's not that I don't feel bad about it. I definitely feel bad about it, right? But failure is okay, and you got to treat it like it's a lesson, okay? And the last one that I'm going to tell you is something that was given to me, right? And this last one is life is going to life, period. Things are going to happen, people. If you have a plan set and you get derailed from that plan, just come back to the plan. It's okay to lose a month. It's okay to lose some time, right? Because things are going to happen. You may have an emergency in your family. Go deal with your emergency, right? And then once you're done and you're stabilized again, get back to it, right? Because life is going to life and you have to be okay with that. It's kind of like in IT, there's errors that happen that people call bugs or defects. And people be planning releases that are defect free. They plan it. But almost every time there's defects. And so the statement surely becomes you're going to have some dilemmas that's going to happen in your life. There's going to be things that's going to derail you. So life is going to life. Be okay with lifing. Because life is going to life, it just makes it beautiful to me. It's one of the most beautiful things about life, and that things change. It's not monotonous. It's not the same thing every day. And then you can go and take time and be with the people you care about and spend time with them, or deal with the fact that your house just blew down because of the big bad wolf. Whatever it is, the idea is that you got to understand that life is going to life. And you got to be okay with sometimes everything stopping. You might end up with a health issue. Everything may stop, right? You may get super emotional about something that's happened politically in the US and everything stops, right? That's okay. Life is going to life and you need to be okay with that. Okay? Now I gave you 12 things. I didn't just give you 10, so I gave you bonuses, right? And I'm going to go backwards here just to make sure we're good to go. The last bonus I gave you is life is going to life. Just make sure you understand that and deal with it accordingly. Failure is okay. Just know that, okay? Work outside your comfort zone. This is the biggest one that I'm working on this year personally. Get your circle right. I know I got to do some work on this. Probably many of you got to as well. Manage time and measure progress. Don't forget to do that, right? Incremental improvements, massive shifts if you tie that with productivity. Iterate to avoid perfectionism. That's great. Productivity over activity. That's what you want, right? Take decisive, timely action. Very important. Logical, informed, calculated decisions so you can deal with those calculated risks. Establish and pursue SMART goals. And the first one that we had was to maintain balance. I do that through prioritizing what's important. And I think all of us need to do a tad bit of that. Okay? A tad bit of that. So that right there wraps it up for us. This is what successful people will do in 2024 to kill it. That's what they're going to do. Nothing surprising about it because it's the same things I did in 2023. And I definitely killed it in 2023. I definitely killed it in 23. Like, I massively killed it. And you can too. There's no reason why you can't. There's no reason why you can't. There's no reason why you can't. Because a lot of this is purely about mindset. Purely about mindset. Okay? Now, that being said, if you throw your names out there, say hi to you real quick as we continue. A Glass, nah. How you doing there? Just saying hi to you. No defects, just undocumented features. I completely understand. Marina, how's it going? Yeah, the PMP is important, right? Jillian, how are you doing? Let's see. I got Miss Hancock there. Welcome as usual. Happy New Year. What's going on, Rajiv? Miss D, how you doing? Let's see. And that's the list of people that at least said hi. So make sure you like everything. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, but I think most people here have already subscribed. Once again, this stuff is on the internet, so you can always look at it later and review these things as you please. So that being said, we're going to close up that and we're going to open the floor for any questions that you may have. I always, and I'll begin the year right by doing this, is I'm going to copy the link and drop the link in the chat. So then you're welcome to join us. I'll drop the link also over on LinkedIn, even though I can't really see what's happening on LinkedIn over there, but I'm going to refresh this page and drop the link over there. If you're on LinkedIn, my statement to you clearly is this. The best thing to do is to join us on YouTube, okay? That's the best thing to do. You join us on YouTube, then you can be an active participant, right? An active participant, right? It doesn't allow me to manage comments in all kinds of places, which is one of the reasons. So I'm going to grab the link to just come over to YouTube. You'll find us, okay? Let's see. So my question for you all is, do you have any questions? This is the part of the show where we open it up for questions that you may have related to Agile, Scrum, entrepreneurship, life in general at this point. Yeah. And then if you want to come on a show, you're welcome to do that through the link I just provided, where we can actually talk face to face and have an exchange. That's always better because sometimes I have a question or two that can let me get the depth that I need to answer your question appropriately. But that's okay. We don't always do that. A lot of times people just drop their questions in the comments. So, how are we starting this new year off, y'all? Do y'all really got y'all goals together? Seriously. You know what you're trying to accomplish this year? What you're trying to get done? How you're trying to execute? If you know this, this is good, right? I mean, for the people that are here, tell me, what's the biggest goal you got for 2024? What's the biggest goal you got for 2024? I believe that Marina said, get PMP certified. Hey, that's a big one. She may have a bigger goal than that, but that's a big one unto itself, right? I have a PMP. I understand what it takes to get it. I was a PMP trainer at one point, doing those actual boot camps, right? Doing those actual boot camps, right? Um, D says that hey, find a job. Well, D, you know that you're not in the position to give yourself the job you want to have, right? And so just make sure that your goals are around those things to help you be as ready as possible for when people come with the opportunity, right? D, have you been exposed to Brandon Land? Have you gone to the Brandon Land sessions? If you haven't, that's what I would recommend that you do, right? Get your brand together so then you are prepared enough, right? Now, I'm going to, I always do this. I'm going to go ahead and grab the email. Okay, D, I want you to reach out to my guy, John Signo, and get in the Brandon Land class. Okay, it's normally associated with a PMI chapter. Right now, I'm looking up his email address so I can grab it. He should be giving me a salary, is what should be happening. I don't know. No, that's my guy, right? He's Bearded Eagle alumni, to be truthful, right? And so I love on Bearded Eagle alumni all the time, right? And I took the class. I think it's an amazing class. And so D, reach out to that email address and tell them you want to join a Brandon Land class. Tell them that I sent you, right? It's low ticket cost. It really is. But the ticket cost is based on the PMI chapter. So if you're a PMP, that's helpful. You remember PMI. If you're not, people come in from outside. Um, I think that will be extremely helpful for you in your job search. And then D, what I want you to do is once you get in it, then come back and let us know how it went. Matter of fact, I'm gonna I'm gonna get John to come on the show. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get John to come on the show. I said I'm gonna do some interviews. I'm gonna do an interview with John, and we're gonna talk about it. So, and for anybody else here, if you're looking for a job, the statement is clear, and it is one of those things that 50 Cent said that just reminds me all the time. You don't take time getting prepared, you stay prepared, right? You make sure you're already prepared before the situation, just in case the situation goes down. And so you want to be in that position where your brand is so tight that everybody is just kind of chomping at the bit trying to get at you. You understand? The good thing for you, D, right now is this is kind of like that lull period where organizations are trying to figure out their beginnings, in terms of them getting their budgets together, people getting back in. It takes them about 2 weeks as people get back in for them to really get to being productive. And so you're really an amazing time. This is a great time. So I think that if you really get into one of those classes, I don't know when the next one is, but you get into one of those classes, hook or crook, get in there as soon as possible. And then do everything that he says do. Everything. He has a Brandon Lamb book. I think it's better to go talk to the real people, right? So John Signo and his team. He got a team of people. Yeah. I think if you do that, you'll be in a good position. Anybody in here has been in the Brandon Land class? If you have, just type in the comments what you felt about the class. Anybody here, right? Anybody here. You know, I thought that the information was amazing when I took it. Um, I wasn't looking for a job though. Okay. And that's one of the things about it, D, is that, one of the things that people try to do is they try to be experts at everything. And I realize I'm just not an expert at everything. I'm not, right? And since I'm not an expert at everything, I try to find people who are really good at what they are, right? And one of the things is that I've been working for Bearded Eagle since 2011, you know. And so if I'm working for Bearded Eagle since 2011, that means I haven't been on the job market. That means I have not been on the job market. So am I the best person to get out there and help you get a job? I don't think so. Because the way that I would find a job is based on 2011, 2010, 2009. And that's not, and everything's changed, man. When I went to that Brandon Land class, man, everything changed so much that I was just like, I'm intimidated. I'm not sure if I'm a good guy to be in the job market at all, even with all the certs that I have, right? So my statement to you clearly is there's just something different about people that have gone through that not having a job in the past 5 years and how to deal with that and how to get that opportunity. And John Signo is one of those guys who has had that experience, and I believe can really truly help you. So I would say go ahead, send that email out as soon as possible. Okay. You send that email out. If you want to, you can email me if you don't get in touch with them, and I'll make sure I reach out to them. Okay, D? So just let me know. Let me know how I can help. But yeah, I think that's the best thing to do. Yeah, I think that's the best thing to do, and that's for everybody that's looking for a job. Okay, for everybody that's looking for a job. Okay, get out there. The good thing is, we have all this we have all this presidential stuff that we hear about. But the United States of America is strong in just every other area, right? And it is a country that people still trying to come through, right? Right. We have over 1 million immigrants that legally come in, and then we have probably double that amount to come in illegally, right? And then in terms of GDP, we have higher percentages, a bigger GDP, a faster growing GDP than most countries like us at this point, right? We have a stronger reputation in terms of peace. So if you look at all the good things that's happening here, it may not feel like it, but the job market, it has gone up. There's more jobs available, and and I'm talking about from the numbers, right? So definitely, I think you will find something. I have hopes that you'll find something. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I believe it will happen. Other questions? Any other questions? If there are no questions, we always can end early and come back next week with another topic and see what kind of questions that you have. We always started this with Bearded Eagle alumni, so when alumni has questions, or people in general now, because it's open to everybody. When we don't have any questions, then we're good, right? So, any other questions? Things always start slow in the beginning of the year. January is gonna be slow, then everybody's gonna start kicking in. Trust me. Okay. All right. So I'm over here looking. Any other questions? I over the break, the youngest daughter, the one that got a full ride scholarship, right, um, to a Big Ten university, right? I bought her a car, so that's the last one of the kids. So she has a car, and we drove it from Texas all the way back up to Chicago. So yes, this was and for you all to have kids, right? It's a tough thing when you got to give your kids some freedom. Like you got to stretch them out and give them more and more freedom so they can be safe in the world. You taught them everything you can teach them, and you still have that little thing in your chest that's just like, I don't want to let go, but you gotta let go, you know. So that's just an experience I've experienced on more than one occasion at this point, right? Um, but as a kid from the South Side of Chicago, um, it's a dream come true to be able to do something like that. Something I never thought I'd be able to do, but I did it. It was like I was thinking to myself, right? I should go ahead and take the video and put the video out on the internet because we always have all these negative things that happen and not enough positive things, right? And so I'm just like, well, I'm so private and I don't want to do that, right? But I was like, I want to see some good news. So yeah, so that's what's, so yeah, that was a big deal. Wore me out though, because she said she was going to drive all the way, all the way up there, and she drove about a third of the way, about a third of the way. So, but what am I going to do? The daughter drive all the way, I drive all the way, I drive all the way all the time. So yeah, so thank you, Marina. I think my daughter will be very happy with your congratulations, and congratulations to me because it was a big deal for me. I had to be honest with you. Had to be honest, y'all. It was a big deal for me. Yeah, I could just being honest, y'all. Just being real honest. It was a big deal for me. Like seriously, yeah. You know, shed a couple tears, man. Shed a couple tears. So that being said, it don't look like we got any questions yet. Again, like I know, just like it was last year, we starting out and people just kind of getting their feet together. But one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to talk about goals and things of that nature is because we're in the beginning, and this is the time for you to start thinking about how you're gonna crush it, how you're gonna crush it, how you're gonna kill it. You know. So yeah. So then on that note, I think we'll leave it at that. So we're gonna go ahead and end for the day. It's a little bit after 45 minutes after. Give you 10 minutes back. What maybe 12 minutes, 12, 13 minutes. So look, everybody, we're gonna come back next week. I'll send out the topic lightly tomorrow for next week. And we're just gonna be just good. We're gonna continue rocking and continue getting this thing in. Other than that, I want to say to you all, make sure you have an amazing beginning of this year, beginning of this week, right? Get things done that you plan to accomplish. Take take productive actions that can turn into massive shifts. If you can do these things, I think you're going to have a great year. Other than that, look, you all have an amazing week, and I will see you next week. Same time, same place. Enjoy the rest of your week. Peace. Bye bye.